The bill sits in front of me like a death sentence. $312. My fingers trace the elegant cursive of Le Petit Jardin printed at the top, while around me crystal glasses clink and silverware scrapes against bone china. A woman 2 tables over catches my eye, then quickly looks away. I recognize that expressivity wrapped in politeness. My makeup is probably a mess. I can feel the mascara crusted at the corners of my eyes, but I resist the urge to check my reflection in the knife blade. That would be too cliché, even for this disaster of an evening. Just 45 minutes ago, I practically floated through these same doors. I'd spent 3 weeks' worth of coffee money on this dress-a-deep crimson number that the boutique owner promised would turn heads. The bodice still feels stiff, like it's borrowing my breath. I'd curled my hair, lined my eyes, glossed my lips just so. Perfect for finally meeting Derek's work colleagues, perfect for his birthday dinner, perfect for the woman I thought I needed to be. The matron approaches with my credit card machine, his steps deliberate and gentle, like he's approaching a wounded animal. "Take your time, miss," he says softly. My one good credit card feels light in my trembling fingers. I know exactly how much credit I have left on it. $427. After this bill clears, I'll have just enough for groceries until next payday. Maybe. "That's what you wore?" Derek's words from earlier sliced through my memory. The way his eyes had swept over me when I arrived, his lip curling just slightly. I thought maybe he was nervous about introducing me to his coworkers. Now I understand he was already planning this ending. The cruelty built slowly through dinner, each comment cutting a little deeper. When the server came to take our orders, Derek's hand shot out to stop me. "She'll have the garden salad," he announced. "Bold choice ordering pasta with your body type." His colleagues tittered politely, but I saw the discomfort in their eyes. When Derek introduced me, he didn't even use my name. "This is, you know," a vague wave of his hand. "We've been seeing each other." 2.5 years reduced to seeing each other. I press my pin into the machine. The numbers swim before my eyes. 4 to 7, -1, -3. A quiet beep confirms the transaction. My hand shakes as I sign the receipt, my signature, a jagged scrawl I barely recognize. "I'm not feeling this anymore," Derek's final words echo in my head. He'd slid the leather folder with the bill across the table like he was passing a dirty napkin. "Honestly, a girl like you should feel lucky I stuck around this long." Then he stood up, straightening his expensive suit jacket, the one I'd helped him pick out last month. His colleagues followed his lead, a few mumbling awkward goodbyes. Their laughter drifted back to me as they exited, probably heading to the wine bar around the corner. I'd helped Derek research places for after dinner, back when I thought I'd be joining them. I cannot even breathe properly, so I go to the toilet to wash my face a bit with cold water. In the toilet, my hands grip the marble counter as I stare at my phone. Monica's contact photo fills the screen as at her brother's wedding last spring, before Derek convinced me those kinds of events were a waste of a weekend. She picks up after the first ring. "Care?" Monica's voice is thick with sleep. It's barely 8 o'clock, but she works early shifts at the hospital, so she takes long naps. "Can you?" My voice cracks. I clear my throat and try again. "Can you come get me? I'm at Le Petit Jardin." "What happened?" The sleep vanishes from her voice. I hear rustling, car keys jingling. The tears finally spill over. "The bill is $300 Monday. He just left me here." "Don't move. 15 minutes. I end the call and dab at my eyes with rough paper towels. When I return to the table, a different server sets down a small box. "Complimentary chocolate souffle," she whispers. "To go." The maitre d' helps me gather my wrapping clutch. Outside, the October air bites at my bare shoulders. I slip off my heels, the ones with the red soles I bought secondhand for tonight, and feel the rough sidewalk against my stockings. My dignity might be in shreds, but I won't let anyone see me cry. My phone buzzes. Unknown number. He's not who he pretends to be at work. You should know. The text glows in the darkness, sent from a number I don't recognize. But I know that name, Jason. He'd been the only one of Derek's colleagues to actually shake my hand tonight, to look me in the eye when Derek did his vague introduction. Another buzz. This isn't the first time. I stare at the messages until Monica's headlights sweep across the restaurant's facade. My thumb hovers over the reply button. Part of me wants to ignore it, to write this off as a terrible night and move on. But a smaller, stronger voice, whispers that I deserve to know the truth. The whole truth. After my friend drove me home, we had a long conversation and I cried myself to sleep, releasing all the shame and betrayal that I felt just 4 hours ago. But I managed to make an appointment with Jason the next morning after I came home. The next morning, the coffee shop window reflects my puffy eyes back at me. I've reapplied concealer twice, but memories of last night keep threatening to wash it away. The barista slides my Americano across the counter with a sympathetic smile. I must look worse than I thought. Caroline? Jason hovers by the corner table, his tie loosened and briefcase clutched like a shield. His eyes dart to the door. Checking for Derek, probably. Smart. Thank you for meeting me. My voice sounds steadier than I feel. I know this is awkward. What Derek did last night. Jason sinks into the chair opposite me. That wasn't the first time. He's done this before. The coffee scalds my tongue. Good. The pain gives me something to focus on besides the acid churning in my stomach. Jason reaches into his briefcase, pulls out a manila folder. Before I show you this, you need to understand something. Derek isn't who he claims to be at work. What do you mean? He's not a project lead, he's a marketing assistant. The world tilts sideways. 2.5 years of stories about client presentations, business trips, team management decisions, all lies. That's not possible. He just got promoted. He showed me the email from Robert Chen? Jason slides a paper across the table. Look at the header. That email was sent to the entire marketing department. Derek copied the text and edited it. My hands shake as I read. The email congratulates the marketing team on recent successes. No mention of Derek, no promotion. But his trips to Chicago, the Phillips account? He's never been to Chicago for work. The Phillips account belongs to Sarah in digital marketing. Jason's voice softens. Derek's main responsibilities are organizing meeting spaces and handling administrative tasks, like ordering lunch and making coffee runs. The fancy business cards, the designer suits, the stories about closing million-dollar deals. My mind races through every dinner where Derek dominated the conversation with tales of his corporate conquests while dismissing my little retail job. It's cute you're trying to move up in that world. Someone has to keep Tucson in affordable handbags, right? District manager? Maybe aim a little lower, babe. Know your lane. Each memory hits like a slap. How many times had he scheduled dates that conflicted with my friends' events? Always with the same excuse: important client meetings. Can't reschedule, you understand, right? There's more. Jason hesitates. The expense reports he claimed were covering your dinners? They were rejected. He wasn't authorized to expense personal meals. The receipts. Always promising to pay me back once accounting processed his reports. $300 here, $400 there. I'd stopped keeping track after the first year. My phone buzzes. Diane's name lights up the screen. Derek's mother, I explained to Jason. Should I? He nods. Your choice. Hi, Diane. I try to inject warmth into my voice. Caroline, sweetheart, I'm just confirming you're still coming to Frank's birthday dinner next weekend? Derek mentioned you two have some exciting news to share. The coffee threatens to make a reappearance. I'm sorry, what news? Oh, he wouldn't tell me. But he was so happy when he called last night. Said everything was falling into place exactly as planned. Last night. While I sat alone in that restaurant, mascara streaking down my face, Derek was spinning new lies to his family. Diane, the words stick in my throat. This woman treated me like a daughter. Her Sunday dinners, holiday traditions, the vintage brooch she gave me from her grandmother's collection. Don't worry, I won't pry. Just make sure you wear something nice. I'm making your favorite chocolate pecan pie. The call ends. I stare at Jason, horror dawning. He told them we're still together, that we have news. Classic Derek move, using others as shields. Jason's jaw tightens. Remember Melissa from accounting? His ex who couldn't handle his success and spread rumors about him? She caught him lying about his role during a family event. He convinced everyone she was jealous of his promotion and turned his parents against her. She transferred to another office. Monica's text flashes on my screen. Found his dating profile, still active, been updating it for months. A laugh bubbles up, borderline hysterical. I keep thinking this can't get worse. I could show up. Jason straightens his tie. At the dinner. Say I needed Derek's signature on some paperwork. Let the truth come out naturally. You do that? Derek's lies affect all of us at work. Someone covers his mistakes, handles the clients he claims to manage. Jason's expression hardens. And watching what he did to you last night, I'm tired of being complicit through silence. I finger the vintage brooch pinned to my jacket. Diane's warm smile, Frank's dad jokes, their genuine pride when I got promoted to store manager. They deserve the truth. But can I be the one to shatter their image of their son? The coffee has gone cold. Outside, clouds gather, promising rain. A metaphor too obvious to appreciate. I won't seek revenge, I say finally. But I won't lie for him either, if they ask direct questions. The truth comes out. Jason nods. Sometimes that's the kindest thing we can offer. I gather my purse, legs unsteady. The weight of decisions and consequences presses down. But underneath the anxiety, something else stirs. Relief. The fog of gaslighting lifting, revealing solid ground beneath my feet. The truth hurts. But lies? They hollow you out, one omission at a time, until you forget the shape of your own boundaries. The next couple of days I plan how to uncover this whole network of lies he has made, and just wait for the Sunday gathering. Finally, the gathering day arrived, and I went to his parents' house. The front door of the Thompson family home stands before me, its familiar brass knocker gleaming under the porch light. My fingertips brush against the cashmere of my sweater, the sage green one Diane complimented at Easter dinner. The one Derek said made me look washed out. My knuckles rap against the wooden door before I can second-guess myself. 3 sharp knocks that echo my heartbeat. Derek yanks the door open, his face drains of color. "What are you?" He steps onto the porch, pulling the door nearly shut behind him. "What are you doing here?" "Caroline," Diane's voice rings out from inside. The door swings wide as she pushes past Derek, enveloping me in a cloud of vanilla and fresh-baked cake. "We've been waiting for you, sweetheart." Derek's fingers curl into fists at his sides. A muscle twitches in his jaw. "I brought wine," I say, holding up the bottle of California Red. "I remember Frank praising it Christmas." Perfect timing. Diane loops her arm through mine, guiding me inside. "I just put your favorite chocolate mousse cake in the fridge to set." The familiar scent of pot roast and rosemary fills the house. Family photos line the hallway, Derek's high school graduation, Amber's college art show, family vacations at the beach. My throat tightens at the newer additions. Photos from last Thanksgiving, my smile bright and unguarded as I help Diane in the kitchen. "What do you think you're playing at?" Derek hisses in my ear as we enter the dining room. His breath is hot against my neck. Amber looks up from setting the table, her eyebrows rising at Derek's tone. She crosses to hug me, whispering, "I'm glad you came." The dining room table gleams with Diane's best china, crystal glasses catching the light from the chandelier. A fresh arrangement of sunflowers me favorite anchors the center. My chest aches at the care Diane has taken, the welcome she's prepared for the woman she thinks will be her daughter-in-law. "Caroline, tell me about that new regional position you're up for," Frank says as we take our seats. "Derek mentioned you're leading some big initiatives." Derek's fork clatters against his plate. "Actually, I'd love to hear it straight from Caroline," Frank interrupts, his eyes narrowing slightly at his son. "I'm not sure what Derek told you," I say carefully. "I'm still store manager at Riverside Mall, though I am applying for district manager now." "But Derek said you were already promoted," Diane frowns. "He told us about the team you're supervising." "That's not exactly," Derek starts. "Speaking of work," Frank cuts in, "how's that Anderson merger coming along? You said you were spearheading the whole project." Derek reaches for his water glass. "It's complex, lots of moving parts. We're leveraging synergies to optimize." Amber snorts softly. "You sound like a business buzzword bingo card." "Now's not the time for the third degree," Derek snaps, his knuckles whiten around his glass. "Actually," I set down my fork, my heart thundering against my ribs. "I think now is exactly the time for honesty." "Caroline," Derek warns. "I'm no longer dating Derek." The words hang in the air like smoke. "We ended things last week, at my birthday dinner." "But..." Diane's face crumples in confusion. "The big news you promised to share tonight." "There is no news," I say gently. "And I think there have been some other misunderstandings too." The doorbell chimes. "I'll get it," Amber says, pushing back from the table. No one else is coming, Derek stands abruptly. I'll handle it. But Jason's voice carries from the foyer. Sorry to interrupt. Derek left these critical documents at the office. They need signatures tonight. He steps into the dining room, manila envelope in hand. His eyes meet mine briefly before turning to Frank. Actually, sir, since I'm here, there's something you should know about the Anderson account. Jason. Derek's voice rises. Your son isn't leading any merger. Jason continues steadily. He's been on probation for the past month for claiming credit for other people's work. He's a junior marketing assistant, not a project manager. The silence stretches like glass about to shatter. That's ridiculous, Derek laughs, but his voice wavers. Tell them, Caroline. Tell them what an amazing opportunity this promotion is for us. Us? My voice comes out stronger than I expect. There hasn't been an us since you walked out on a $300 dinner bill after telling me I should feel lucky you dated me at all. Amber's hand finds mine under the table and squeezes. You did what? Frank's question cuts through the air like a blade. She's lying. Derek's voice rises. She's just bitter because I ended things. She's always been jealous of my success, trying to ride my coattails. That's enough. Frank stands, his chair scraping against hardwood. Outside. Now. Dad, you don't understand. Now, Derek. The kitchen door closes behind them. Frank's voice carries through, words like disappointed and reputation and consequences, sharp enough to penetrate the barrier. Diane dabs at her eyes with her napkin. Caroline, I am so sorry, we had no idea. How could you? My throat tightens at her genuine distress. He's your son, you believed in him, just like I did. Jason sets his phone on the table, text messages displayed on the screen. He's been bragging about the restaurant incident to colleagues, called it taking out the trash. Diane's sob catches in her throat. Amber wraps an arm around her mother's shoulders. Through the kitchen window, I watch Frank and Derek in the backyard. Derek gestures wildly, his face red in the porch light. Frank stands perfectly still, his silence more devastating than any words could be. The chocolate mousse cake sits untouched in the center of the table, its surface dusted with cocoa powder, in the same swirling pattern Diane has used since Derek and Amber were children. Some traditions survive, even when the stories around them crumble. 15 minutes later, Frank returns alone through the kitchen door, his shoulders heavy with the weight of the conversation. The spot where Derek's car sat in the driveway now holds only scattered gravel and tire marks from his hasty departure. Caroline. Diane's voice breaks the silence. She stands by the kitchen counter, fingers wrapped around a dish towel. How long has he been lying to you? The question catches in my chest. Not why are you lying about my son, or what did you do to provoke him? Just honest concern, directed at me. I should have said something sooner. Amber speaks up from her perch on the kitchen stool. The stories never quite added up. Last Christmas, when he talked about his corner office, I knew the marketing assistants worked in cubicles. I just thought. She trails off, twisting a strand of hair around her finger. You wanted to believe the best of your brother. I finished for her. We all did. Frank crosses to the table and pulls out his checkbook. The leather cover creaks as he opens it. The restaurant bill. How much? Please, you don't have to. $312. Amber's voice is firm. Plus tip, which knowing Caroline, she left even after everything. Frank nods once, pen scratching against paper. My protest dies in my throat when I see his expression. This isn't charity, it's accountability. You'll stay for cake. Diane isn't asking. She's already pulling plates from the cabinet, the good china with the gold rim. Monica's on her way, isn't she? There's plenty. Before I can respond, headlights sweep across the kitchen window. 2 cars pull up Monica's familiar Honda, and behind it, Victor's silver Volvo. A laugh bubbles up in my throat, surprising me. Of course they coordinated this. The kitchen fills with a strange kind of warmth. Monica hugs Diane like they're old friends instead of strangers meeting in the aftermath of disaster. Victor shakes Frank's hand, then gets pulled into a conversation about the marketing department restructuring. Amber and Monica discover they both volunteer at the same animal shelter. Diane serves me first German chocolate, my favorite. I never told Derek about my preference for this cake, but I must have mentioned it to Diane during one of our long talks over holiday dishes. The board meeting is scheduled for Monday. Victor and Jason's voices carry from their conversation with Frank. HR is involved now, the false reports, the expense claims. It's not just about tonight. I focus on my cake, letting their voices wash over me. Finally, the dinner was over, so I came back home, relieved. A week passes in snapshots. Derek's empty desk, his workplace accounts deactivated. Angry messages flood Jason's phone until he blocks the number. Rumors circulate about a hasty move to Colorado, an uncle's spare room, a so-called fresh start. Amber's text arrives on a Tuesday morning. I'm so sorry about Derek. You deserve better from all of us. Diane sends cookie snickerdoodles in a tin lined with wax paper, a handwritten note tucked inside. The familiar looping script brings tears to my eyes. Family isn't always blood. You're welcome here anytime. My apartment transforms piece by piece. The brown suede couch Derek called practical becomes a donation. The clothes he critiqued fill 3 bags for Goodwill goodbye to the sensible sweaters and appropriate skirts. At the salon, I finally get the layered cut I've wanted for years. Derek preferred my hair long and straight, said it was more professional. On Wednesday afternoon the next week, Monica spreads bank statements across my new coffee table, helping me untangle 2 years of shared expenses that were never quite shared. Look at this. She points to a column of numbers. Your grocery bills drop by half without him. Funny how that works. The next day, as I was checking different opening positions at work, the district manager position pops up. My hands shake as I fill out the application, but my voice stays steady during the interview. Without Derek's voice in my head listing all the ways I might fail, the possibilities stretch wide open. That first peaceful night arrives without warning. No checking my phone for missed calls. No rehearsing conversations in my head. Just quiet, and the soft whir of the ceiling fan, and the weight of my own contentment. Then the text arrives from an unknown Colorado number. My thumb hovers over the block button, muscle memory ready to shut another door. The message preview glows. Caroline, I've been thinking. I stare at those 3 dots, the universe of manipulation they might contain. Block or read, protect my peace or satisfy my curiosity? The choice sits in my palm, heavy as a restaurant bill, light as newfound freedom. A second message appears. I know I hurt you. My finger moves with certainty. The next messages light up my phone screen until 3 a.m. Numerous paragraphs of Derek's particular brand of manipulation, each word calculated to slip past my defenses. My thumb hovers over the text, muscle memory wanting to soothe, to explain, to make things right. I know I made mistakes, but my family betrayed me. They chose you over their own son. You turned them against me. The words blur together, familiar accusations wrapped in a thin veneer of apology. 2 months ago, these messages would have worked. I would have spent hours crafting the perfect response, trying to help him understand, to fix what was broken. I've changed. Colorado's given me perspective. When I come back to town next month, we should talk things through. You owe me that much. A laugh bubbles up from somewhere deep in my chest. The sound startles me sharp and clear in my quiet bedroom. The moonlight streams through my window, catching on the framed photo I haven't taken down yet. Derek's family at last Christmas. Diane's arm around my shoulders, Amber making bunny ears behind her brother's head. My fingers tap out a response, 5 words, that would have been impossible 6 weeks ago. Please do not contact me again. The block button follows, a clean surgical strike. Sleep comes easier after that. In the morning, I tell Dr. Martinez about the message during our weekly session. She leans forward in her chair, her silver hair catching the sunlight. Since the breakup, I've been visiting her to complete my healing process. What did you feel when you read it? She asks. Nothing. The truth surprises me. Well, not nothing. Recognition. Like watching a magic trick when you finally know how it's done. She smiles, the corners of her eyes crinkling. That's what healing looks like. One Thursday evening, Monica insists on celebrating 1 month of no contact. She arrives at my apartment with a bottle of wine and Chinese takeout, just like she did the night of the restaurant disaster. But this time, we're not huddled on my couch while I sob. We sit on my small balcony, the chilly November air crisp around us. To boundaries, she toasts, raising her glass. The word doesn't taste bitter anymore. I celebrate my peace, and with that the remaining week passes without any drama or unexpected events. The text from Jason comes a week later. Coffee? No agenda, just caffeine. We meet at a small place downtown, far from Derek's usual haunts. Jason looks different in jeans and a faded Springsteen t-shirt, the corporate polish stripped away. We talk about everything except Derek, his daughter's soccer games, my new district manager application, the best pizza in town. The conversation flows so naturally that lunch becomes dinner. "This is nice," he says as we split the check. "Just normal." I understand what he means. Friendship without pressure, connection without manipulation. When he mentions his ex-wife's new boyfriend is taking his daughter to Disneyland, I hear the complicated tangle of emotions in his voice. We're both healing from different wounds. Later that week, Amber's art gallery invitation arrives in a pale blue envelope. My first instinct is to decline Julie. The family obligation ended with Derek. But her handwritten note at the bottom makes me pause. Your eye for color always meant more to me than his, so I called her to confirm my arrival next Friday evening. The gallery buzzes with Friday night energy. Amber's landscapes capture beautiful sunsets, the colors so vivid they hurt. She wraps me in a tight hug, paint streaked on her forearm. "Mom and Dad are coming later," she says. "They'd love to see you." I consider leaving, the old instinct to avoid complications rising up, but I stay. When Diane and Frank arrive, there's no awkwardness, no mention of Derek. Frank asks about my district manager interview while Diane tells me about her garden's latest triumphs. Later, Diane pulls me aside. "He did this before, you know. The lies, the manipulation. In college, we thought, we hoped." She squeezes my hand. "I'm sorry we didn't warn you. You couldn't have." I tell her. I wouldn't have believed it then. With friendly conversations, the exhibition was over and I went back home. The next few days were full of work preps, telephone conversations, and my healing process. Finally, the district manager interview falls on a Tuesday, so I head to the headquarters. My blazer is new, bought with my own money, in a shade of green Derek would have hated. The panel includes 2 regional directors and a VP from corporate. "Tell us about a time you demonstrated resilience in a challenging situation," the VP asks. 6 months ago, I would have reached for a safe retail anecdote about holiday rushes or difficult customers. Instead, I tell them about the French restaurant, about maintaining composure and professionalism while my personal life imploded, about learning to trust my judgment and set boundaries. Sometimes the hardest person to manage is yourself. I finish. But that's where true leadership starts. After the interview was done, I took a long walk in the nearby park and went home. The rest was only waiting for the results. The job offer comes 3 days later. The salary makes me catch my breath more than double what I make now. The territory includes 6 stores, including the upscale coffee shop where Derek used to hold court, telling elaborate lies about his non-existent corner office. Today's my first day, so I walk through those doors as their new district manager. The morning rush swirls around me, the scent of coffee sharp and familiar. A barista I've never met hands me my Americano with a smile. "Welcome to the team," she says. I find a seat by the window, the same spot where Derek once told me I should be grateful for his honesty about my limited potential. The morning sun warms my face as I review inventory reports, plan staff evaluations, and map out the next quarter's goals. The door chimes. A young woman walks in, her shoulders tight with anxiety, her date's arm draped heavily across them. I recognize that posture, that careful smile. For a moment, I see myself from 6 months ago, trying so hard to be smaller, to fit someone else's expectations. I catch her eye and smile. Not with pity, but with recognition and hope. She straightens slightly, something flickering across her face. Understanding maybe, or possibility. The sun climbs higher, painting the coffee shop in shades of amber and gold. My phone buzzes with a text from Monica about dinner plans. Another from Jason asking if I want to catch a movie this weekend. A photo from Amber of her latest painting. I take a sip of my coffee, savoring the bitter warmth. Sometimes the things we lose make room for what we need to find. Sometimes the truth arrives right on time, dressed as disaster, waiting to set us free. A year passes by way too quickly, and with different challenges and new experiences, I finally managed to get a promotion. Now we are celebrating together at my home. The wine glasses catch the evening light, throwing prisms across my new granite countertops. Monica arranges another platter of appetizers, while Amber adjusts a framed photo on my wall me at my promotion celebration last week, surrounded by my district team. The moment captured in that image still feels surreal. My smile genuine, shoulders back, power suit perfect. Earth to Caroline. Monica waves a hand in front of my face. The stuffed mushrooms are ready. Where should I put them? I point to a space between the cheese board and bruschetta. Sorry, just taking it all in. My gaze sweeps across my new apartment, still amazed at how different everything looks when you choose it yourself. The coral accent wall that Derek would have hated. Art from local painters that speaks to my soul rather than his idea of sophistication. Jason appears in my kitchen doorway, holding up an empty wine bottle. Think we need backup. Want me to grab another from your pantry? Second shelf on the right. Our eyes meet for a moment longer than necessary. A year of coffee meetups and casual dinners have built something careful and true between us. Neither of us rushing, both understanding that healing happens in its own time. My phone buzzes. A message from Frank pops up with a link to a news article about startup failures in Colorado. Derek's latest venture crashed last week, something about inflated credentials and investor misrepresentation. I delete the message without opening it. His struggles stopped being my concern months ago. Caroline, Amber calls from the living room. Tell everyone about your travel plans. The conversation shifts to my upcoming solo trip to New Mexico. 3 days of hiking, photography, and absolutely no one telling me what I should or shouldn't order for dinner. My chest expands with the simple pleasure of making choices without calculation. Later, after the plates were cleared, the four of us also went to the Le Petit Jardin for the next round. This time, Monica sits across from me, with Jason and Amber flanking us at the round table. The maitre d' Thomas, I now know, greets us with genuine warmth. Your usual table, Miss Walker? He gestures window seat, the best in the house. Perfect. My voice carries none of the tremor it held 6 months ago. The burgundy leather menu feels different in my hands now, an opportunity rather than a sentence. I'll have the coq au vin, I tell our server, and please start us with the escargot. Nummins on my choice, no one needs to. Jason raises his glass. To truth finding its way. The crystal makes a pure, sweet sound as we clink glasses. When the check arrives, I slide my card into the leather folder without checking the total. My recent promotion means I can handle whatever number is printed there. The power in that simple act fills me with quiet satisfaction. And after this round was finished, all of us went home. Back home, I sit at my desk, opening the leather-bound journal Diane gave me last month. Just because, she'd said, hugging me tight. Our weekly phone calls had become a touchstone neither of us expected to keep. My pen moves across the creamy paper. Looking back, I ignored so many signs because I wanted love to be enough. But real love never humiliates you, and it certainly doesn't fake a resume. The truth of those words settles into my bones. My phone lights up with Diane's nightly check-in text. A simple heart emoji, her way of saying she's thinking of me. I send one back, marveling at how losing what I thought I wanted led me straight to what I actually needed. Tomorrow morning, I'll meet with Sarah, a promising assistant manager at one of my stores. She reminds me of myself 2 years ago, smart, dedicated, and too willing to shrink herself for others' comfort. My notes for our mentoring session fill another page of the journal. Everything I wish someone had told me, everything I learned the hard way. I stand in front of my bedroom mirror, adjusting my blazer for tomorrow's executive team meeting. The woman reflected there looks like me, but stronger, steadier. My gaze catches on the framed note beside my jewelry box, the official letter announcing my promotion to district manager of Southern Arizona retail operations. And after the final preparations, I went to sleep. The next day, after the shift was over, my doorbell chimes. Jason, right on time to pick me up for dinner with my new colleagues. I grab my purse, pausing to straighten the photo of my team on the wall. A year ago, I couldn't imagine smiling like that again. Now I know the truth always finds its way to the surface. Sometimes it sets you free in ways you never imagined possible. My heels click confidently against the hardwood as I walk to the door. Each step sounds like a victory.